It's good to be here with you this morning. I appreciate the welcome that Dottie has given me, our old Hingham friend, Dottie Pitt. And it's good to be here in this beautiful house of worship. Here we have gathered in this place made sacred by the generations of those who have worshiped here before, by the generations who have mourned here, celebrated here. This place made sacred, in short, by love. Here we have gathered. May those who seek comfort this day find comfort here in this gathering. May those seeking insight find insight through a word, a bit of music. May those yearning for inspiration find inspiration here this day. Yes, comfort for aching hearts, wisdom for seeking minds, inspiration for hands ready to serve with love. May it be so, and amen. Singing is one of the best prayers I know, any kind of singing. We're going to sing a hymn, though. Number 34 in your gray hymn books, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire, number 34.
Good morning. Happy Evacuation Day. Oh, and happy St. Patrick's Day, too. Welcome to First Parish in Milton. For those of you with whom I'm not acquainted, my name is Dottie Pitt. I'm a member of the worship committee and your worship assistant this morning. If you're having trouble hearing us either on Zoom or in the meeting house, please raise your hand or message us in the chat, and we'll be sure to solve that problem for you. We're glad to have you here this morning. However your journey, whatever your heritage, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. We especially welcome a dear friend of Chris's and mine from our Hingham days, Reverend Ken Reed Brown. Ken retired from First Parish in Hingham, also known as Old Ship Church, in 2022. He lives in Hingham with his wife. They have Susan. They have 3 grown and married children and 6 grandchildren. In his retirement, Ken serves on the Interfaith Committee, which organizes the Listening to Other Voices speaker series at Glastonbury Abbey in Hingham. And he is on the Communications Committee of Elders Climate Action. Are there any members of that group here this morning. I wasn't sure. Some of them, my good friend Avis Goldstein, who I own a house with, is also a good friend with Ken, but she couldn't be here this morning, I'm sorry to say. In addition to Ken's presence, your presence here on Sunday morning enriches worship for everyone. This sanctuary is made holy by your presence. If you are joining us for the first time, a special welcome. You will find information about First Parish in your pew. One of the greeters or I would be happy to accompany you to social hour after the service. Thanks to Diana for being a good greeter. And please take a moment to orient yourself with our weekly words located on the laminated card in your pew. As well, read the announcements in your order of worship. Please take special care to note that circle meals are getting started again, and they're designed as get-togethers to enjoy a meal and learn more about the UUA's bylaw changes to the Second Amendment. And also join the Waking Up White discussion this Thursday on Zoom. There will be a video and discussion. See Deb Alsabai. Deb, wave your hand for more information. And now, a brief word from our sponsor, the First Parish Auction. Jeff?
Thank you, Dottie. So I've been asked to speak this morning because on Saturday, April 6th, from 6 to 9, we'll be holding Swinging into Spring, this year's First Parish Auction fundraiser. This morning, I wanted to help you envision what makes this such a fun, inviting, and important event, and hopefully entice you to attend. The evening opens with appetizers, wine and beer, and the fellowship of friends from First Parish, and that way, that'll give us time to bid on the silent auction. We have wonderful offerings this year, French lessons for your child, handmade items like an Adirondack chair or a quilt, or time at vacation homes from Maine to Wellfleet. And then we'll enjoy music throughout the evening and dessert, and the live auction will follow next, where there will be more enticing items to bid on. Having participated in church auctions before, I can say that there are 3 things that make attending worthwhile. The first is that as we celebrate First Parish's 346 years as a congregation, the proceeds of the auction are an important step to supporting the church's programming and its community outreach initiatives for environmental, social, and racial justice causes. Second, the evening itself is a welcoming and fun way to be part of our beloved community. And third, the items and experiences that I've come away from an auction with have brought me closer to my fellow congregants. Some of my and Jenny's fondest memories of church going are connecting with others through receiving an item that they've made, staying in their home, or best yet, sharing that activity or meal with them that we've won through bidding. So please join us on April 6th, starting at 6 p.m. And to the parents of school-age kids, I hope you will be able to join us as well for whatever time you can. From social hour to the recent bridging dinners and the last week's brunch, my thanks to everyone who's been making it much easier for families and parents to be able to attend these events. So parents, if you can think of any ways that would make coming to the auction a little bit easier, please see me during social hour and I'll be able to transfer those messages on. So again, I hope everyone will be there on April 6th, and thank you for your time this morning.
Thanks, Jeff. It's going to be a really fun evening. Now, the moment you've been waiting for when we get to greet one another. So let's take a few minutes to greet each other in a warm, COVID-friendly, safe manner, whatever that means to you. And on Zoom, please show us your faces, and you can say hello to those of you on the Zoom camera. Go for it.
Hello, everybody. Ed, you recovering from surgery?
We're getting there.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
Oh.
Thank God for pain medications, right?
Right. Well, that's too bad.
Well,
Jeez.
no, the operation was a success anyway. So
Oh, good,
that's the
good.
first step.
Wow.
Yep.
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 Hopefully you won't be limping.
Hope that.
Yeah. Hello, Katie. Hi, Liz. How you guys doing?
Good. Hi, Pat. Nice
Liz,
to see you.
You in an African jungle, Liz?
No, actually, this is from the woods behind the high school.
Aha.
And that weird looking shape is a jack in the pulpit.
Yes. Okay. Protected.
Not really. But yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Let's hope so.
Okay. Good seeing you guys.
You too.
See you, Katie.
Well,
I am, but the mic isn't on yet, I don't think. Okay, the party's over. As we enter into worship, please silence your voices and your phones. And now we will light our chalice. Each Sunday we light the chalice as a reminder of our shared humanity. I'd like to invite Tracy Robinson up to light the chalice. She and Pat Gallivant are co-chairs of our Social and Environmental Justice Committee. So if you want to join them, she's the person to see. Out of darkness, light. Out of the winter air, spring warmth. Out of the silence, singing. Out of our hearts, love. Our chalice is a corner of warmth and awareness where we, the members and friends of this First Parish faith community, can find comfort, support, and connection to one another. Please join me in saying the call to worship. It's on the laminated card in your pew. We gather to celebrate, come let us gather. We gather to celebrate the sacred within and among us. We come to seek spiritual growth and understanding. We strive to practice acceptance, forgiveness, and love. Together, we work to build a world with justice and compassion. Come, let us gather together. And now here comes El Jetpig.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's so good to see so many smiling faces. So this morning I have my friend El Jetpig, our sort of our silly friend. If you'd like to follow along in our bulletin, there's a little bit more about El Jetpig and what El Jetpig stands for. So El Jetpig is a friend that is helping us learn about our values as Unitarian Universalists. And the acronym El Jetpig is going wild around the country. We are not the only church. There's lots of UU churches out there who are embracing El Jetpig. But as a reminder, L stands for love. J stands for justice. E stands for equity. T stands for transformation. P stands for pluralism. I stands for interdependence. And G stands for generosity. Awesome. Well, today is J for justice, and I'm wondering if I have any friends out there who might want to come see what's in El Jetpig's backpack. Friends, if you are feeling so called, you may come up to help me explore the contents of El Jetpig's backpack. Lots of friends excited to see what is inside El Jetpig's backpack. You think you see something. Okay, but we can take turns kind of looking in. Not quite sure what's there. We're not quite sure what's there. There's paper. Markers, something, we're not quite sure. We're not quite sure what's in there. Okay, well, if someone wants to maybe open it up, we can take turns. We can all open up pieces of it. Okay. Well, we got a couple different things going on. What's there's a little toy. What's the toy? Oh, a wind-up toy horse that can run. Okay, well that's a very fun toy, and I'm wondering, we can play with the toy later. It's a really fun toy, isn't it? It is kind of going up and down. It's a good toy. Maybe we'll bring that to our fidget box and play with it a little bit later. Okay, I'm wondering if someone would like to read our question. Okay.
When did you stand up for something important?
Yeah, good question. When did you stand up for something important? So we'll allow our friends and our friends all throughout the congregation be a couple of minutes. Talk to someone near you about when did you stand up for something something important. When did you stand up for something important? We'll take a few minutes. Talk to each other. We'll take maybe one more minute, maybe one more minute. Okay, friends. Okay, friends. Let's come back together. Let's come back together. Thank you. We will have time to play with El Jet Pig more later. I'm wondering if anyone up here, any of our friends up here have a time they stood up for something important?
I stand up for my friends a lot. Sweet. Like, not one specific time, but.
But like just like as a thing you do? Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Leona. Anyone else? No. Okay. Maybe you'll tell me later. Cool. Sweet. Anyone else up here?
I stand up for myself when I was being bullied by my.
Yeah. That's really important. Standing up for ourselves is really important. Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone out in the congregation got a time they stood up for something important? Anyone out there? Yeah, we'll pass it down the line.
Thank you. A bunch of people from this whole congregation on the 11th day of every month for 19 months, we did something called the 11th hour standout or 11th hour calling, and we rang the bells up above and next door for climate, and especially to send a message to town hall.
Hi, I feel like I stand up every day for recycling. I work at an elementary school, and you want to make sure that they're putting the bottles in the right place and the papers in the right place, and so just to talk about that a lot.
Awesome. Well, that was some very wonderful answers. Thank you so much, everyone. Friends, we are going to now go to our Sunday morning children's programming. If you want to come, we would love to have you. It's time.
Now, after that entertainment, let's take a few minutes to still our minds and our bodies as we enter into worship. Thank you. This morning's reading is from Of Time and Turtles, Mending the World, Shell by Scattered Shell by Cy Montgomery. Some of you may know Cy Montgomery from her appearances with Jim and Marjorie on Boston Public Radio. In Hindu and Buddhist mythology, the tortoise, Akupara, carries the world on his back, upholding the earth and the sea. From Alaska's Admiralty Island to Polynesia, people say the world turtle laid eggs that hatched into the first humans. In North America's Haudenosaunee, Lenape, and Abenaki creation stories, the Great Spirit creates the homeland by placing earth on the back of a huge turtle. Many now still refer to North America as Turtle Island. Without the turtle, we are told, the very sky would fall. Turtle wisdom reminds us that even at a moment in history that feels like the end times, we can find a way to regain, to regain our connection with creation, and like the world turtle, take our turn upholding the earth. If we have used our time wisely, when we are ready, we can at last hand that joyous, terrible, horrible, essential burden to the next generation, and the next, and the next, and the next, in a great cycle of renewal.
Well, I know what's going to be going through my head when I leave this morning. And the message, not just the music, but the message. And we heard that manifest with a couple of the children. The girl who talked about standing up for herself when she was being bullied, that's never giving up, right? And the reading about turtles, if you read this book by Cy Montgomery, you will, if you didn't know already, turtles never give up. They are remarkable creatures, but a little more about that in a few moments. During my mother's last years, she would often remind me, because she told me more than once, of her favorite Bible verse. Now, she was a daughter of a Presbyterian minister, so she'd heard lots of Bible verses, I'm sure, growing up. But her favorite verse was, "Be ye kind to one another." It's a good one. She would often then go on to say, well, you can't love everybody, but at least you can be kind. Now, I resisted the impulse to have any kind of theological argument with her on the point, pointing out that, well, kindness is an expression of love and so on and so forth. Mom was, in fact, one of the kindest people I've ever known, and I understood her differentiation between kindness and certainly our intimate forms of love. But today I am placing kindness within the constellation of love. Kindness, caring, compassion, they're all manifestations of love, aren't they? All about love. And here's a story about love, going back to Cy Montgomery's book. We heard that passage from her book Of Time and Turtles, in which she used turtles as a metaphor, the turtle as a metaphor for our place on earth. We could extrapolate a little bit, our place in the universe, if you will. Turtles who have been around way longer than us. Now, that paragraph was not as down to earth as most of the rest of the book. She shares plenty of turtle stories. She and a friend of hers took some time, it was actually during the pandemic, to volunteer at an organization called the Turtle Rescue League in Southbridge here in Massachusetts. TRL, Turtle Rescue League, is dedicated to rehabilitating turtles who've been harmed, damaged, often hit by a car or a truck, by incubating turtle eggs, by nurturing baby turtles until they're ready to be released, and along the way educating people about these extraordinary creatures, remarkable, resilient, surprisingly intelligent, even, who knew, affectionate reptiles who have been, as I say, on the planet way longer than we humans. Now, some days in the life of the Turtle Rescue League can be pretty hectic. You may not think of hectic and turtles in the same sentence. But there was, for example, the day when a pond in a nearby town was being drained fairly rapidly to make way for some sort of development. Someone contacted the Turtle Rescue League, and they sent over 3 volunteers who observed right away turtles frantically, which may not be so easy to imagine, frantically trying to make their way away from this receding water and into safety, but they had to cross a highway to do so. So the volunteers went right to work, putting their own lives at risk to try to stop traffic in the highway and save turtles. They saved a dozen or a couple dozen turtles or more that day. They couldn't save them all. Oncoming vehicles didn't see them or didn't care. I hope that's not the case. And many were struck and killed. But they saved a bunch of turtles. Now, why do the Turtle Rescue League folks do that? Do this sort of thing? Well, the simple answer is that they love turtles. Now, how many of you had those baby turtles, if you're of an age anyway, when they used to sell them in the 5 and 10 store, right? It was not a good thing for the turtles, actually, but we learned to love turtles. They were pretty darned cute. So people in the Turtle Rescue League, just like us when we were kids, some of us, love turtles. And the broader answer is that they understand that turtles are, of course, part of the larger ecosystem, and they love the whole deal. They love the earth, of which turtles are a part. And they understand that if species of turtles are lost, that's a loss for all of us and for the earth which gives and sustains life, all life, human life, turtle life, all life. Hence, Cy Montgomery's subtitle, Mending the World, Shell by Shattered Shell. Sometimes it's the small things. Most often, it's the small things, isn't it? Now, I don't know if we're all going to go out this morning or this week and join the Turtle Rescue League. Perhaps some of you will. It's not so far away. Inspiring as their work is and lovable as turtles are. But whether we're mending a turtle shell, or if we live in an area where we can help dolphins get back into the water if they've been beached, or if we plant milkweed for the migrating butterflies, or if we contact a representative about climate change, the crisis of climate, installing heat pumps, whatever we do, small or large, with each small act, we are declaring ourselves part of a much larger rescue league. You might say the Earth Rescue League. And that's something we can all be part of. This team, like the Turtle Rescue League's team, is grounded in love, after all. Love which knows, as Chief Seattle said in words attributed to him, in any case, that all things are connected, so that whatever we do to the web, he said, we do to ourselves, for better or worse. Now, I don't expect I need to convince any of you here of this. I know the principles are going to be changing this year's General Assembly, but we know our seventh principle, affirming our place in the interdependent web of existence. So we know this, in our heads anyway. And we didn't invent the idea. Indigenous First Nations peoples knew it well, this fundamental truth. In a few more of those words attributed to Chief Seattle, the earth does not belong to us, he said. We belong to the earth. All things are connected, like the blood which unites one family. A century and a half ago, naturalist and Sierra Club founder John Muir used a delightful phrase. I love this phrase. He said, when you pull one thing, you discover that everything is hitched together. It's all hitched together. That's not just in our culture here on Turtle Island. The 16th century Chinese philosopher Wang Yangming wrote that everything from people, he wrote, to mountains and rivers, birds, animals, and plants, all should be truly loved, he wrote, in order to realize my humanity that forms a unity. And it is St. Patrick's Day, so one additional line. John Philip Newell, reflecting on the gifts of Celtic spirituality, he wrote, our work is to help reawaken the sense of the sacred that's already deep in the human soul. Our primordial relationship with nature, our ancient mother love of the earth, we can be part of its rising again, he wrote. In short, one way or another, all these voices, whether ancient or contemporary, are affirming that we don't live on the earth, we are of the earth. It's an interdependent unity, after all, a unity including every being, not just human beings, all beings, turtles, bears, everybody, mountains, seas, clouds, the air in which we all breathe. Did we think the earth was just a rock on which we live? No, earth is all of it. The living earth, the atmosphere, everything, the water, of course, it's all earth. And with every breath we take, every bite of breakfast or sip of coffee or snack at coffee hour, we're exchanging part of that exchange of elements with other parts of the earth. This blood circulating, this life force circulating. So yes, we know all this. I'm not convincing you of anything new this morning. We know it in our heads, certainly. How well do we know it from experience? Can we know it from experience more of the time? How well do we know it in our hearts? Here's another example that poses the same, more or less the same question. Did you know that the Great Salt Lake out in Utah is shrinking dramatically? It's a third the size that it was not too long ago. Well, I learned this, maybe some of you heard the program on WBUR On Point not too long ago. The guests were an ecologist, Ben Abbott, and the writer and environmentalist, Terry Tempest Williams. Some of you may know her work. She grew up out there and is currently a writer in residence at Harvard Divinity School. Well, Abbott laid out the science, what we know about all this in our heads. Terry Tempest Williams, fully cognizant of the science, of course, affirmed that love, the language of the heart, after all, that love had to be the motivating force behind activism to protect the lake, to save the lake, and to save much more than the lake. Here's what she said. She said, before we can save this world we are losing, we must first learn how to savor what remains. This is more than an ecological crisis or a political crisis. We need to mobilize our love. This is a spiritual issue as well as an ecological issue. But again, how do we move our intellectual knowing of who we are in the interdependent web and of the dangers that we know we face, how we damage the web? How do we move it from head to heart? How do we mobilize our love, whether for turtles, for a lake, for all of our sibling human beings, for all our relations, for the earth itself, herself? How do we learn to feel? Somehow to experience more fully the reality that we are not part of, that we are part of one human family, not utterly separate from one another as it sometimes may feel or look. Great ringtone. Nice break, thank you. It's happened to me, actually. You believe that? It's all okay. How do we learn to feel this reality? When the 20th century Hindu teacher Ramana Maharshi was asked once how we're supposed to treat others, he said, maybe some of you know this, he said, there are no others. And maybe this morning's music will be going through your head, but you might want to take that with you this morning too. Live with that for a few days. There are no others as you go about your lives. See how that feels. Now, his questioner was likely asking about human relationships, but it applies much more broadly, doesn't it? Love of the earth is not love of something separate from us, as I've been suggesting this morning. And, this is actually not all that different from the love of another person. We're not wholly different or disconnected from one another. We're all cousins in the end. St. Paul, that quote this morning, be kind, came from one of his letters, and elsewhere he said that we are all part of one body of Christ. It's all metaphor we're talking about. One body. So loving someone else is just loving another part of who we are. It might be more intimate or less intimate, but we are all of one another. Now, when it comes to plenty of practical matters, you and I go about our, you're you, I'm me, we go about our separate lives, navigating our days and so on. But we are cells in one larger being, our human species, all life, earth, cosmos, in religious language, the Brahman of the Hindus, the Tao, or the eternal way, in Chinese philosophy, all of us God's children, to use Western religious language. But whatever your chosen language, each of us individual manifestations of a larger whole, by whatever name. But these are still just words. How do we feel? Experience this reality of interdependence, oneness, unity more often, and then live more closely aligned with this. The ancient wisdom traditions all begin with something very simple. They say, now and then, or maybe often, just stop. Sometimes it's called meditation or prayer, contemplation, but just stopping in the middle of our busyness, stopping, like here and now, as we do every Sunday morning, just stopping. Or it might be in the woods, it might be by the sea, it can be in a busy city street, or as you go about your business at home, wherever it is, or work, just stopping now and then. Experience the mystery of being a human being, that mystery woven into all of life, as we are part of this earth, as it revolves around the sun, and for 5 billion years has been evolving, continues to evolve, and we're part of it all. Oh my goodness. So the teaching is just to stop and reflect on and experience who it is we most truly are. And then the wisdom traditions also say this, then do something, or even first do something. In the doing, reaching out to someone else with care, a phone call, or ringing the church bells to signal climate crisis, or standing up for yourself, and so on. That doing itself engenders that feeling of connection. It opens our heart a little more, doesn't it, when we reach out in some way or another to the wider world, to someone else. Mobilizing our love for one another, for turtles, for all the creatures in our endangered home, at least endangered as a home for us. Here's the thing about love. Do many of you know the song, The Magic Penny? Sometimes I share that with the kids. Love is something, if you give it away, you end up having more. And it's true. Open your heart, you give it away, and you end up having more because of that exchange. We're not just exchanging with the elements when we breathe or have something to eat, but certainly when we reach out, when we love. Right? Well, as for me, in this chapter of my life, one of the things I've been doing is helping out, as you heard, with the national newsletter of Elders Climate Action. Why? Well, the mission of Elders Climate Action is, and I'll quote, to mobilize elders throughout the United States to address climate change while there is still time to protect the well-being of our grandchildren and future generations. Now, the word love is not in there, but it surely is more than implied. Why bother with this, or with so much else in our lives related to justice, the word of the day? Justice is love made public, as has been said. Love for our children, whatever children in our lives there are in our lives. Love for this dear earth and all its particulars, forests and streams, all our relations as indigenous peoples often put it. Love in the deepest and broadest sense, as I've been affirming this morning, as a contemporary Sufi writer has put it, the most powerful force in creation. And he goes on to say, it is our love for the earth, it is our love for the earth that will heal what we have desecrated, that will guide our hearts and minds. Yes, love, manifesting our knowing of who we are. Love is what it's all about. Partnered with my mother's favorite virtue, kindness. Kindness because we are all kin. Kindness because we are all kin. All of us kin. Blessed be. Amen. I invite us to sing again. Our hymn is number 207 in your gray hardback hymn book, Earth Was Given as a Garden, number 207. May we join our hearts and minds in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love, come unto us. For the world is so big and we often feel so small. The problems of the world are so big and we feel so small. So may we breathe into the largeness of the world, breathe into the company of one another, of all creatures, breathe into this day, into the embrace of the earth, and feel held in this embrace of life. Feel held so that we feel not only our own breathing, but the breathing of one another, of all creatures, of the earth, knowing and feeling that we are part of this larger breath, larger life. So that then everything we do, each in our modest and imperfect way, the words we speak, choices we make, will make a difference for the larger good, will nurture life, will bring more peace, in the midst of this journey we share. Yes, may we feel held in the embrace of life, feel the blessing of life. May we, this day and always, return the embrace and the blessing with love. As on this day, we each hold our unique prayers and concerns and joys. On this St. Patrick's Day, Jeff remembers fondly, in fond remembrance, he says, of my Irish uncles and their celebration of the holiday. Perhaps many of us have Irish uncles or aunts, and today we all are related, as we always are. Blessed be, and amen.
Sorry. I know in the program it says you, but, so Sign Up Genius was kind of technical difficulties. Thank you, Tracy. So people were asking me, what is a faith reflection? I've got to do a faith reflection. What is a faith reflection? And I got some input, which was really helpful. May we be peaceful and at ease. Everybody take a deep breath. When I was a child, my mother had a brown lunch bag on top of the refrigerator. This bag had beloved St. Patrick's Day buttons in them, this big, some of them. I loved wearing them to school. Some said, "Kiss me, I'm Irish." I don't know if I would wear those these days. And when I spoke to my niece about it, my niece lives on the second floor with my son. And when I was talking to her about it, she said that her mother always made sure that she had green on because otherwise the girls get pinched and the boys got punched when she was going through school. I don't remember that part. I don't know if we did that back then. I can't imagine doing it now. And another main staple in my life was church growing up. My very first church memories were of the Holy Cross Lutheran Church in Comac on Long Island in New York. Sunday school was cool. I remember taking home small potted marigolds while dressed in my patent leather shoes and an Easter hat. I don't know if we do that now either. Amongst us 4 girls, unfortunately, the pastor who was named Pastor Bo became named Pastor Bohr. Sunday school was one thing, the sermons were a different thing altogether, long and arduous. In 1976, we moved from Albuquerque to New Mexico, where we joined the Asbury United Methodist Church. Now that church was really hopping. I joined the youth group and the youth choir, where they put me in the soprano section my first time. The youth chorus went on a road trip. They had a bus called the Raspberry because it was painted with fuchsia-colored stripes on it. So there we were, bustling around in the Raspberry bus, doing our choir musical at churches in New Mexico and Texas. I don't know if you can imagine doing that in this time post-COVID because we would stay at people's houses, and it was a lovely thing, but I don't know if that happens in this day and age. Church was the place to be for me. The community was vibrant, and even my Girl Scout troop met there. The pastor, I remember, had a plaque called, and it said Perseverance up behind his desk. I remember that very vividly. When I aged out of youth group, religion took a back seat in my life. I had to go through college and all that. And then I went into Peace Corps, and I went overseas to Thailand, where 98% of the people were Buddhist. And then I went to Togo for a year, where most people were Catholic or some other secular religion in their country. So it was quite a difference between my Christian upbringing and those learnings overseas. My church search, after getting back from Peace Corps, my church search began again while I was pregnant with Henry. Henry's dad's grandmother was a UU, and John worked for the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. So began my UU journey. The 7th and now 8th tenets were very accessible for me, whereas, Christianity and the Jesus on the cross became less accessible for me. In my last 21 years at this church, I have participated in many activities. Henry's baby dedication with Reverend Robinson, small group ministry, spirit play. Henry put together a necklace symbolizing so much with Marie-Laure Brown in 2nd grade. Youth group, coming of age, and the worrisome and necessary Our Whole Lives. When John and I went through cancer, the caring committee and parishioners were there for us. Thank you very much again. And when John was dying, Lisa came to the hospital and played Scrabble with us. After John passed away, and the grief group that I participated in with Lisa, and I think there were about 7 or 8 of us, it was very, very helpful. So I'll just sum it up as, I do believe this church is a pot of gold for me, and I thank all of you, and I thank everyone who's helped me along my journey. Thank you so much. Oh, and I want to say thank you so much for my Dorchesterites that are here to support me, too. Thank you.
Good morning again. So this morning's Share the Plate offering will go to an organization called Bikes Not Bombs. I think some of you have heard of it. I am honored to introduce Nadai Kanango, who is here representing Bikes Not Bombs, will tell us a little bit more about it. He is the Senior Director of Development and External Affairs. So, welcome, Denai.
Thank you so much. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Reverend, for your inspiring words about love. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the choir, Never Give Up. I was about to clap, and I saw that I would be the only one, and I stopped. But this was exciting, definitely. So thank you, Tracy. Thank you, the entire community. You guys are a very welcoming church, and I'm there with my son, Simeon, and we feel happy here. And so I really like the vibe that we feel here. Very briefly, Bikes Not Bombs specializes in collecting bikes and repurposing them. We literally use our bikes as vehicle for social change. In our target communities, Mattapan, Dorchester, and Roxbury, we teach young people basic bike mechanics. We teach them how to refurbish bikes, and some of our refurbished bikes are actually shipped to the Global South. And since 1984, we've been able to ship more than 82,000 bikes to the Global South. That's basically what we do, and graduates from our bike school can take on a 3-year paid apprenticeship in our bike school, in our bike shop, and in our organizing department called BOCAP. That's basically what we do. But let me quickly tell you a very simple story, and the reason why I joined Bikes Not Bombs. I was born in the Global South myself, and I grew up in Europe, and I never really worked for a nonprofit. I used to be a political advisor. And when I moved to Massachusetts, because a beautiful girl from Boston fell in love with me, I also fell in love with her. And but basically, she first moved to Brussels to live with me. And after that, we decided to move here. And when I came here, I literally had to reinvent myself. And I wasn't looking for career opportunities. I was looking for purpose. And the first person I met from Bikes Not Bombs was a young man called Damari Guillaume. When he was a teenager, Damari lost his dad. And he grew up here in Boston in what we can call an underserved community without a father. And for a black young man, this is not a great beginning. But instead of turning into depressive statistics, Damari joined Bikes Not Bombs, and he gained a community. He gained skills. Long story short, today he started his own business, and we are actually working with him. And this right there symbolizes, epitomizes the DNA of Bikes Not Bombs. So as you help us, please do not underestimate the power of your generosity. It can really make a difference. It can really change lives. It gives people a future. So thank you for your generosity. And once again, you might see me again in your church. I love it so much, but thank you for everything you do for Bikes Not Bombs, and we love you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ndai. That was very inspired. I'm sure that all of you get out your phones, and because you know how to give. To give, please follow the instructions printed in your pew on the card or shown on the Zoom screen. For those in the meeting house, you also may deposit a check or cash in either of the plates at the doors at the end of the service. If you are proud of this church, become its advocate. If you care about its future, share our message. We welcome all to build a just and healthy world with faith, love, and compassion. Please support our greater community this morning by giving as generously as you can.
Without a song, the day would never end. Without a song, the road would never bend. When things go wrong, we just ain't got a friend. Without a song. That field of corn would never see a plow. That field of corn would be deserted now. You may be born, but you're no good no how. Without a song, I got my trouble and woe, but sure as I know the Jordan will roll, I'll get along as long as a song is strong in my soul. I'll never know what makes the rain to fall. I'll never know what makes the grass so tall. I only know there ain't no love at all without a song. I'll get along as long as a song is strong in my soul. I'll never know what makes the rain to fall. I'll never know what makes the grass so tall. I only know there ain't no love at all without a song.
Now please join me in the unison dedication. May these gifts be transformed into strength for this faith community, into comfort, food, and shelter for those in need, and may we be transformed by generosity. Now please rise as you are able to join in our final singing.
Honoring the day, this blessing from ancient Gaelic runes. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the infinite peace to you, to us, to all beings. And from this place of inward peace and blessing, may we turn and make of our lives a blessing to all life. Amen, and blessed be.